full name is Judith Ellen Steinberg Peck. I called her Mom. My friends called her the Witch, with good reason. One time, my pal Douglas Heller invited our whole first grade class to his birthday party. Doug only lived 4 blocks away, so I told my mom I did not need a ride. She told me the party ended at 4, and she expected me home at 4:30 at the latest. I picked out my best clothes. It worked. Beth Johnson said I looked handsome. Yes. After the party, me and Beth and a bunch of other boys and girls got in a big game of kickball. At the bottom of the ninth, I came to the plate with bases loaded and a chance to kick a grand slam. Suddenly, I saw Beth bolt off third base, and barreling right behind her was Judith Peck, shrieking all the way to home plate. I was frozen. She was furious. She grabbed me, screamed at me, and dragged me off the field, bawling my eyes out. If Judith was a witch, Arthur was a wizard. My dad was my rock. When my mom went ballistic, he made it safe to speak up. And when I told him the story, he said he could understand how much it had to hurt to be humiliated in front of all your friends. And I could tell. It felt bad for me. 23 years later, I'm in a personal growth workshop, and the leader tells us, close your eyes and imagine you're sitting alone on a wooden bench in a beautiful, peaceful park. Now picture someone coming to sit next to you. Not just anyone, the one person you feel the most at ease with. Instantly, I saw a face and felt warmed. Eyes radiating kindness. There, sitting down beside me, was Judy Peck? What? How is that possible? How could the woman who was shaming me and the bane of my childhood have come this far? The bridge, one word, kindfulness. Just like it sounds, kindfulness is a practice of nurturing self-kindness in a very mindful way. A way that helped Judy to increase her self-awareness and her self-compassion, and to decrease her dark moods and her depression. A practice of forgiveness that gradually restored her self-worth and got her to get treatment, go on meds, and ease her anxiety by learning how to shift her thoughts from self-loathing to self-loving. By the time I started junior high, Judy was going to parent effectiveness workshops. I was dubious, and I stayed on high alert. When my middle sister spilled grape juice all over the prize white rug, I was sure my mom would explode. Judy silently surveyed the stain, stayed centered, and stayed kind. I still kept my guard up. But over the years, Judy's consistency began to win back her children's trust. Slowly, I eased my suspicions, and I took down my shield. My mom was safe. So much so A decade later, when I graduated from Penn and got the maverick idea to use juggling to put poetry to motion, Judy Peck was my biggest fan. Her encouragement helped me carve out a career, performing pieces like this. Life flies past so fast, and our long to-do lists can just get so out of hand, even when we bend over backwards. I drop no disgrace. When I'm at the top of my game, there's no place for blame. I just let it go and get right back in the flow. Even when we bend over backwards, we can just feel like we got too many balls in the air. Are you with me? Good. Because now I want to go from the universal down to the personal, and use this style of 3D storytelling to provide you with a sort of sneak peek into a part of my psyche that I seek to hide and ignore. A visual guide who can help you to see what it's like to be me. When I start to soar, I mean when all my ideas are clicking and my imagination is kicking into high gear, thoughts whiz by so fast it's tough to explain. The sheer synergy between the right and left hemisphere of my brain. But oh, the high when my neurons are firing and my imagination is inspiring and the talent agents are hiring. And it's like I've got the world on a string. I can do anything. And when fear steps in and tries to steer, I just say, go away. And I make it flat out disappear. Like magic, when my flip, hip, rap is totally out of sight, I have such command. It's like it's all in the palm of my hand. My mind shines with levity and light, and my mania, I hide behind this mask, morning, noon, and night. Therein lay my fatal slip. Thought I could captain my own ship of fools, and all caution deny, and the perils of hubris defy, and forgot one of life's cardinal rules. Pride goeth before a fall, and took my eye off the ball. And that's when I crashed. I was 30 years old. I didn't understand, and I overreacted. I quit juggling, I stopped exercising, and my mood sank. I stayed in, I stewed, and I said no to every friend's invitation. I was pissed at myself, and my inner critic was punishing me by preventing me from pleasure and pulling me away from everything and everyone I loved. No one had ever told me that isolation and anger turned inward is a textbook definition of depression. A mental illness that strikes 1 out of every 5 adults and twice as many women as men, half of whom are too ashamed to ask for help. I was the same way. But the more I tried to think my way out, the deeper I'd sink into the mental quicksand that is depression. A toxic, psychic stew that caused a sit-down strike in my head. Appetite, sex drive, willpower wouldn't work. Confidence, connectedness, humor, hope, all called in sick. The foreman fell down on the job and shut down the whole plant. The generator went out. The engine light flickered, and my spark grew dim. The darkness doesn't run in just my mom's DNA. My dad's brother, Morty, suffered from clinical depression. I had no idea. He kept it a secret until it got so bad and he became so cut off, he took his own life. So years later, when his widow, my Aunt Thelma, caught wind of my condition, she came over and she would not leave until she got me to agree to be admitted into the Psychiatric Institute of the Pennsylvania Hospital. I was diagnosed borderline catatonic. They say talk is cheap, but when you're mentally ill, silence isn't golden. Silence is costly. My first visitor was my mom. She took me for a walk on the hospital grounds and led me to a wooden bench beneath a gnarled pine. We sat down and neither one of us said a word. Then Judy broke the silence with a stark question. She said, "Bob, can you give me one reason why you want to stay alive?" I didn't answer. I couldn't think of a single thing. I lowered my head and remained mute. Gently, my mom's fingers turned my face towards hers. Tears streaming down her cheeks. She said, "Bobby, I love you so much, son. I worked so hard to bring you into this world. Please, son, please, I want you to promise me, no matter how hard it gets, I want you to promise me you will not take your own life." What could I say? She was my mother. I promised. I had no idea how hard it would be to keep. When we got back to the room, my dad was waiting. He himself is a psychiatrist, and he'd been conferring with the other doctors, and he assured me I was in good hands. He also told me the hospital had a pool. I shook my head. "I'm not interested in exercise." He nodded and said, "I understand, son. Ordinarily, that's the way it goes. You got to be interested to get involved. But in your case, it works the other way around." I stared blankly. He spoke firmly. "Look, Bob, normally, interest leads to involvement. But when you're depressed, involvement precedes interest." I didn't get the logic, but I trusted the source. And I meekly followed him to the pool, and begrudgingly, I swam one lap. I hated it. But that night, a little speck in my psyche liked me for trying. And the next day and the day after that, I went back, and the little speck became a seed. Each day I tried to swim a little further, and the pool watered the seed, and it sprouted into self-respect. My dad was right. I had to get involved to be interested. Swimming gave me back the feeling of having something to look forward to. My mom taught me to practice kindfulness as a way to heighten my self-awareness and widen my self-acceptance. And slowly, I began to pick up the pieces, and over time, learning to be more kindful helped me tame my inner critic and turn it into an inner coach. Kindfulness is the bridge that let me accept I need to be on lithium, and that doesn't make me a bad person. I'm on a mood stabilizer because I'm bipolar. There, I said it aloud in public. I'm bipolar. I'm not proud of it, but I'm breaking my silence because I'm sick of being scared of a stigma and hiding in a shame closet. I'm speaking out because I found out the stigma of mental illness is a box that's built on 4 S's: shame, secrecy, silence, and separation. And when the separation becomes too much to bear, like it did for my Uncle Morty, then you add a 5th S, and the box becomes a coffin. This is a light for all the lives lost, and for all the lives that we can save. A flickering ember of hope that can help a hurt psyche ReSPARK. A candle of kindfulness that kindles the healing connection that gives us the strength to dismantle the stigma of depression, upending the stereotypes that force us into labels and lock us into little boxes that confine us, is a tall order. And to pull it off would seem to take sheer magic. But when you've got a solid network of support, it turns out you don't have to really believe in magic, because the real magic is in believing that we can break the silence and build a bridge of kindfulness that borders on the miraculous. I will now swallow the boxes